What are you doing? You putting on Mummy's shoes? Hello, today I would like to share with you a time management / simple living tip. I would like to share with you what I do on Fridays and what I've been learning through that. A Christian movie I enjoyed which relates to what I do on Fridays. A frugal living tip and some thoughts I've been challenged on this week about prayer. Okay, so the time management or simple living tip is to finish one thing before you start another. Now this doesn't apply to everything, especially big projects, but I'm talking more about housework or jobs, to try to finish one thing before you start doing another thing. For me, I get distracted very easily, so I can be, vacuuming and I see something else that needs doing, so I stop vacuuming and I quickly go to do something else, and then there are times that I've got to the end of the day and there's still washing half folded on my bed and there's still lots of dishes to be done and I've run out of energy. So I found it best to try when I'm doing those jobs to get them all finished before I start doing especially like the deeper cleaning jobs. Now I saw a video on Facebook once that somebody shared which I thought was quite good, but it was of a lady who was going to start with one job and she went to do that, but when she was there she saw something else that needed doing, so she thought, oh, I'll just quickly go do that first. But when she went to go do that she saw something else that needed doing, so she went to go do that and she ended up going in circles all day, and at the end of the day she was exhausted on the couch and her husband came in and said, what have you been doing today? And she said, everything, can't you tell? And yet of course he couldn't tell because nothing had actually gotten done. She'd just gone from one thing to another, going around in circles. So it is really good to, if you're doing the dishes, don't stop until it's all done. Or if you're vacuuming, don't get distracted sorting out cupboards or drawers until you've finished vacuuming. Now, what I do on Fridays, I've talked a few times about what we do with old people and also about one time when we didn't have enough money for something and how God provided. Okay, so a couple of years ago my husband brought a little building in town, so it was like a little shop building right in the middle of all the other shops, and he probably never would have brought it if he'd have known what a hassle it was going to be. It was such a obstacle course to get it. We had kind of one problem after another, and at one point he said to me it would be a miracle if I ever get that building, but he did get it. And then we had the obstacle of trying to pay for it because the bank decided not to lend my husband the money that they had said they probably would. And so we were in a bit of a predicament then, and we were going to have to sell our house. That was the only way out that we saw. But then God provided money. We got some very large checks in the mail, which was really amazing. So anyway, we got the building and my husband set it up like a coffee shop. So out the front it's got tables and chairs and like a serving thing, and then out the back it's got a kitchen. So we open every Friday and we cook a hot lunch, and so usually people mostly come at lunchtime for a lunch, and it's mostly elderly people who are lonely or on their own or widows. And every time Johan shares a little bit from the Bible before we eat and he prays, and so it is a really good outreach in our little community, especially among the elderly, lonely people. So today we're having leek and potato soup with some bacon. One of the ladies who sometimes comes here lent me this book to read. It's by Dr. David Jeremiah, and it's mostly about the fruits of the Spirit. So about compassion, generosity, peace, joy, self-discipline, humility, integrity. It's quite a good book. I'm enjoying reading that. this casserole. Johan's just reading something from the Bible and then we will serve it. We also have some leftover pudding from the community dinner last night. Just peach sponge, which we're going to have with custard. We don't usually do pudding though. Lots of dishes today. But when we first started doing this, I found it really hard. I felt very incapable. I'm not very good with old people. I'm not very good at talking to people and being social. And even just with cooking, like I know how to cook, but it was a different stove, different oven, and we had to cook for larger groups of people. And so it felt kind of very daunting and I felt very incapable. But I felt encouraged once when I heard a sermon about Moses. And the preacher said how Moses in the beginning, he really wanted to rescue the Israelite people, and he kind of went about to do it his own way by killing an Egyptian. But that didn't go well, and he ended up running away, hiding in the desert. And then 40 years later, God came to him and said, I want you to go rescue my people. I want you to bring the Israelites out of Egypt. And Moses said, I can't do that. And Moses felt very incapable. And the minister reckoned that it took 40 years for him to realize that he couldn't do it. But he could do it with God's help. He just had to believe God and to obey God. And God did help him do it, even though it was hard. And so, we don't need to feel capable for what God wants us to do. We just have to depend on him and to obey him and trust in him. And another thing I've been learning lately, I don't find it that easy to talk to people, and especially people that I don't have much in common with. So, it's easy to talk to people around your own age who are in a similar life situation as you. So with older people, I don't always feel like I have a whole lot in common, and I don't always know what to ask them about or to talk to them about. My husband's very good at talking to people, and so for him that's not so hard, but for me that's kind of really out of my comfort zone. And so it's easy for me to just stay in the kitchen, because I usually help get the food ready and make sure it's all ready, and Johan more, talks to the people. And so I'm learning to just do what I can do. So like Lydia's a really good example of that. She can't talk much, but she uses the words she can say. She can say hello, and she says hello to just about every single person she meets. This morning it was quite cute. I took her into school and she straight away ran into the principal's office to say hello to the principal. None of my other children would have ever done that, but she can say hello, and so she says it all the time to everybody she sees, and she used the words she can use, and she is also good at sign language, so she uses signs all the time. And it's easy if you feel like you're not good at something, then you just don't do it, but we should do what we can do. And for me, I'm learning that I can say hello, I can ask people how they're doing, I can ask them how their week's been. Like, I can do what I can do. I might not be really good at talking to them, I may not be able to have big long conversations, but I can do what I can do. Now sometimes I've talked about how I get overwhelmed easily, and I've been kind of talking about stuff, like lots of stuff in my house can really overwhelm me, but I can also get overwhelmed with opportunities or with people. If there are so many people that need help or that are lonely, I can feel very overwhelmed, and I kind of think, well, I can't help everybody, I can't visit everybody, and so then I end up not visiting anybody. So I've been thinking a lot about how do you know which people to help. Now for some people, they may not have so many opportunities as I do. I know some people who live way out in the country and there's not very many people around, and so they kind of more have to look for opportunities of what they can do. But for me, I kind of more have so many opportunities that I don't know which ones to do. And so I was thinking, yesterday I visited somebody, and I was thinking later on, like, I started to think about all the different people that I could visit. And like, I know a lot of widows. I'm from a larger church, so there are a lot of people there. There's a lot of young mums, and I know a lot of people in the community, especially older people, because of what we do on Fridays at the Little Haven. And so I started to feel overwhelmed thinking about all these people that I could visit. I could be busy every day visiting people or making meals for people or helping people, and I thought, how do you know which ones to help? Now I think the most important thing is to ask God who to help, because God knows which people need help, which people already have lots of help, which ones don't. So I think it's very important to pray and ask God for wisdom about who to help. But last night I also thought about the Good Samaritan. How did the Good Samaritan know which person to help? Well, he was just going about on his business, wherever he was going, and he saw somebody along his way. And he stopped to help that person. He went out of his way to help somebody who was on his way. So he didn't go out of his way looking for somebody to help, but on his way he saw somebody who needed help, and so he went out of his way to help him. And I think that's a good place to start. We can start with the people that are across our path, the people that God puts on our way, maybe the person next to us or a person we hear about. Just start with the people that we do know, the people that are across our paths. And if you have lots of times on your hand and you don't know many people, then maybe you need to more look for opportunities. But if you're a busy person like me and have plenty of opportunities, then we need to pray for wisdom, and we also need to just do whatever's on our path, like help whoever comes across our way. So a video that I enjoyed watching is this one called the Wednesday Morning Breakfast Club, and it's on the Vision Video channel. And it's a story about a girl who works at a coffee shop, and there are 3 old men who come in every week. And at first they're really grumpy and always complaining, but she's very kind to them and tries to please them. She ends up getting quite close to them or being good friends with them. It's quite a nice story, and I liked it because of what we do with old people. So my frugal living tip is to do with having haircuts. So Johan and Joseph, I just cut their hair at home, which saves money on haircuts. I'm a bit more afraid to do my girls' haircuts. Esther has very thick, long hair, and she's not very good at keeping still, and Lydia is a bit hopeless at sitting still either. So usually I would do hairdressers. I would get a hairdresser to come and cut the hair, but we try to not do it very often, so maybe just once a year, and then it's not so expensive. And on Sunday I listened to a sermon. If you're interested in it, you can search Mountain Moving Faith by David Gibbs. So it's a sermon about mountain moving faith, but it's about the verse there that says about asking in faith, believing, and you shall receive. So it was really about prayer and about faith. But there are 2 things that really kind of spoke to me, and I actually found this sermon very challenging. It made me realize how much I don't pray about things. Anyway, one thing he said was that most people have more faith in Amazon than in God. Like, they put an order through and they expect it to come. Now, I don't order off Amazon, but I know when I do online shopping, you do count that it's going to come. I order groceries, and if the truck comes late, like the other night, it was like the cutoff time for when the truck was supposed to come, and my husband said, oh, maybe he's not coming. I said, no, he will come, well, they'll ring up or something. Like, I have faith that they're going to come and bring my groceries, even if they're just running late. And it just really struck me that we can have more faith when we put an order through on something than we do in God. Like, we pray and ask God for something, and we don't always have any confidence at all that he's going to answer. And of course he doesn't always answer the way that we think, and sometimes he says no, but he does promise to answer, and we need to have faith in him for that. So another thing he talked about is bathing your children and your marriage or your ministry or whatever you're doing in prayer, bathing them in prayer. And he said that we should have a very specific list of things that we're praying for our children or for our husband or wife or for whatever it is that we're doing. So we should be very specific, and we should be asking for a lot of things from God, not just, praying very generally for 1 or 2 things for them. And that really spoke to me, because I do pray for my children regularly, but there's actually only a few things that I specifically pray for them. What is it, Lid?
Yeah.
What did you get?
I did. Wow.
Is that some shoes?
Yeah. Wow.
Wow.
Think you get this?
What else is in the box?
Papa. Wow.
What else is in the box?
There. Oh, Papa. Hey, Papa.
Is it peanut butter? Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Papa, dia.
I don't know if that's a good idea.